Good morning and welcome to our breathing techniques. Today we're going to do, as well as our breathing techniques, I'm going to talk a little bit for the next couple of weeks about the 8 limbs of yoga. I'm going to try and keep it as easy, short and concise as I can. And then obviously you can always go out, there's lots of information, just put in 8 limbs of yoga into Google and it'll come up with loads and loads of different information. But it is a really nice, they're quite nice, and this is why I love yoga. Yoga is not a religion. It doesn't tell you how you've got to practice, when you've got to practice. It just offers you ways of living that hopefully some of you will kind of go, oh, well, that's kind of like the 10 Commandments kind of thing, but it is. But it just it doesn't tell you if you don't follow these ways, you won't get to a nirvana. It just sort of tells you that if you do, you'll probably feel a lot nicer about yourself and a bit nicer about the world. So, I don't use Sanskrit. Now, some people will say, oh, you're not very authentic if you don't use Sanskrit, because the Sanskrit words tend to have something to do with the meaning, but they also, you can if you want to learn it, but for me personally, I'm a Brummie and I've got a bit of a Brummie accent, which I love my Brummie accent. I'm quite fine with it. It doesn't sound so great when I'm trying to put it to an asana or try to say something in Sanskrit, because it doesn't come out very well. And so then I don't feel authentic, because I'm not saying pronouncing a beautiful language with a Brummie accent, and it doesn't mix right. So I personally don't prefer not to use Sanskrit, but I think it is a beautiful language, and if you can use it, then do use it. So we're going to start with our 8 limbs of yoga, and the first thing you need to know is what they are. So they're split off into different things. So you've got your moral restraints, or yamas. And you see Yamas, it's probably pronounced Yamas, but from a Brummie you'll get Yamas. Moral restraints, they're rules of self-discipline to help live your life. The postures, the breathing, withdrawal of senses, concentration, meditation, and then enlightenment. And I'll kind of go through them each week, a little bit on each. So today we're going to start with the Yamas, or the moral restraints. And these are kind of the world, how we treat the world around us. So they're split off into 5. So the first one is non-violence, and that's non-violence to yourself and to the world around you. So again, it can be as simple as just thinking about yourself firstly, if you're doing yoga. So when we come to do yoga, and I'll be showing people how to do a handstand or a headstand. If you know you've got high blood pressure, then you wouldn't necessarily do a headstand or a handstand, because it'll raise your blood pressure, it'll harm you. But some people feel pressured because everybody else is doing it, that they're like, oh, well, I've got to do it as well. And this is where these come in. You don't. You have to think about you personally and how it's going to affect you. The other things is harming, which you can take it a little bit further, to harming animals. So not eating meat and becoming a vegetarian so that you don't harm animals. So you can take that non-violent to as little or as wide as you want. But again, it's also not hurting people. So not hurting people, no violence with your words. So being nasty about somebody, oh, look how she's looking, and typing things. So it doesn't have to be verbally, it can be things that is said. But it's also, so this is one of the ones. So trying not to be harmful and not violent towards people, yourself, and the planet. So again, recycling, try not to use too much plastic. Think about our planet. What'll happen is the world will never end. We will just eventually get rid of all humans, because we haven't got enough food to eat, or the water, or it's too hot. But the world will carry on going, and that won't stop. The only thing that we end up harming when we harm the world is ourselves at the end of the day. So that's number one. Number two is truthfulness. Now this is a bit, again, it's quite hard. We think we're being truthful, but sometimes we even lie to ourselves. And sometimes somebody will, at work, someone will go, oh, have you done that report? And you know you haven't, but you'll just go, yeah. And then trickly try and get it ready. As opposed to just going, you know what? Truthfully, I've got that many things that I've got to do myself that it's completely lost my mind, but I'll put it on my list and I will do it now. But we try to just kind of get away with things by just going, yeah. And we know in our heart and soul that we're lying, but we let it go. But then there's other things sort of like, I always, when people are trying to lose weight, I tell people, have a food diary and be truthful in the food diary. Because if somebody was to say to us, we're trying to lose weight, or what have you eaten today? Nothing, I haven't eaten anything. We won't mention the 2 Kit Kats that we had for breakfast, or the biscuit that we nicked as we were walking through, or a couple of chips that was left on the kids' plate before we threw it into the thing. So we're not being truthful them, but it doesn't matter to them. They don't care whether you've eaten or anything. But for you, if you're trying to lose weight, trying to get healthier, and you're not being truthful about what you're eating or the exercise that you're doing, then you're not helping anybody at the end of the day. But also the truthful is to do with your words, with your thoughts, with your actions. So it's about being truthful to not just you, but also, again, truthful to everybody else. If your friend is wearing something and it looks absolutely terrible on her, be honest. Just say, listen, you're a lovely person, you're beautiful. Still, the dress that you're wearing yesterday, last week was lovely on you. No. It doesn't look good. It points out all your bad bits, so no. With kids, okay, yes, we tell little lies about Father Christmas and the Tooth Fairy. Oh, theoretically, we shouldn't be, but as long as they're not taken to extremes, then it's fine, I guess. But hopefully my granddaughters don't watch this, because Father Christmas is real-ish. So we'll skip over Father Christmas. So number 3, non-stealing. Now this again can be as simple as don't rob somebody's money, somebody's house, from a shop. But it can also be somebody's ideas. So if someone at work brings you something and it's quite a good idea, don't go, oh, well, I'll bring that to my manager and pretend it's my idea. That is stealing as well. Stealing people's time. So if you know that you're a bit of a chatter, and you can see that people are trying to get away because people have got lives to live. If people have got time, then they'll sit there and they'll talk to you and they'll engage with you. But if you can see people trying to move and go, and you're still calling them back and still talking, that's stealing people's time. And again, that's stealing, and it then makes people sort of look at you differently, because every time they see her, they'll be like, oh God, I can't stop and talk to her because you can't get away. So it's being able to notice them things in you and try not to do it. So if you do notice somebody trying to get away, let them go, because they'll come back to you and they'll still have that chat with you. And they'll be more likely, when they've got time, to sit down and really engage in that conversation, whereas opposed to trying to run because it's freezing and you're in the middle of a car park and you're still trying to talk. So things like that, stealing people's limelight, taking things that are not yours. So again, when you're looking at things, it could be a person or looking at somebody else's partner and thinking, oh, I like their life, I want their life, I'm going to go after what they've got to get it. Because going after things that somebody else has got and having suffered is not necessarily going to make you any happier. So you've got to think about your own happiness. So then we go on to the 4th one, which is celibacy. Now, some people get a bit with celibacy, but it's basically the right use of your energy. So even with sex should come from a place of love, a place of want between two consenting adults. That's what it kind of is. And if you can't find that kind of true love where you both respect each other, then you shouldn't be doing it. If you're giving your love, your body to somebody, and they're disrespecting you, they're going off and having sex with numerous amounts of people, then how can that be right? If you can't do it, they wouldn't allow you to go off and have lots and lots of different partners and come back, because neither one of you would feel personal. It would be, you're just giving away that energy. But that energy, even if it's not used sexually, if you're using that energy for doing rubbish, so instead of using your energy for goodness, you're using your energy and going on the computer, going through people's Facebook pages and commenting negatively about people, as opposed to using that energy, that extra energy you've got, to get up and go out and do some exercise and go for a walk and meet people or cook for somebody, or doing something good and passionate with that fire, that energy that we get from sex, that sexual energy we've got. Write about it, draw, paint, something that fires your energy, gets rid of it in that way. But keeping yourself true to, again, with the truthful, keeping yourself true to yourself. So knowing, again, like I said, that you're not going out there just having sex because you're trying to find love. Stop doing that and love will find you. The right person will find you. But if somebody's treating you bad, if they're not treating you right, then you need to kind of get rid of them, because they're going to weaken that energy. They're going to steal that energy from you. And if you want to give out your energy to the world. Then our last one is non-greedy or attachments. So with greedy, it's about wanting more. So, I like her car, I'm going to get a better car. I like the way she does that yoga position, I'm going to try and do that yoga position as well, even though it's going to hurt me. It's not true to me. I'm going to steal because it looks good. It might not be a real one, but I'm going to use all my energy to try and grab hold of that. So it's using your energy, using things in the wrong way. Everything should just be about you. We don't need much. And there's a beautiful quote that I've seen, which: take only what you need, keep only what serves you for this moment, and let go of what's not right. And if you think about your wardrobe and how many clothes, how many shoes you have, and even when we go out and you look at something on a rail and you go, I like that top. And you've probably got about 3 tops that look exactly the same in the wardrobe. But you think, I'll get it, because that need of buying makes you feel, for that moment, feel good. But then you go home and you put it in your wardrobe and it's like, oh God, I can't get it in. I'm trying to squash everything in. It's too much, and it all gets too much. And I've heard people, when they're trying to sort out their clothes, they go into their room and they just go, it's too much. I don't know where to start. Because we've been so greedy. So we need all these attachments, greedy and attached. We need all these attachments. We need these things because they're going to make us feel good. And then they make us feel good for a tiny bit. And then it's like, I need to get something else now. That makes me feel good. Something that's going to make me feel good. And that's the way it goes. But if you were to give away some of that stuff, sort out what you don't need and give it to somebody, or to a charity shop, or to somebody that you know that might enjoy it, even if it's, again, just to make them feel that attachment for a little bit, you'll find that giving is actually going to stay with you for a lot longer than the getting. And it'll state that you'll go into your wardrobe and you'll see that it's nicely set out, and you can put clothes in without having to squash them all in. And it'll make you feel better. That feels better, that feels nicer. Then you'll think about how you give something to somebody else, and hopefully they get some enjoyment. It'll make you feel better, and you'll find that will last longer than the actual getting and the I've got all these things. So there's lots of things that so these yamas, so non-violence, harm, truthfulness, non-stealing, you've got proper use of your energy, and non-greedy, non-attachment. Try and think about these as you go through the day, and what you use and what you don't use, what you need and what you don't need, and just focus on what you do, especially again when you're coming to yoga, when you're doing a yoga pose. Make sure that it's right for you, that you're not pushing yourself, you're not going to harm yourself, that you're truthful about it, that you're not stealing it from somebody else, or you're not trying to show off so that you look better than the person next to you, that you're using your energy in the right direction, and that once you've got it, once you've got there, that you know you can let it go, you've done it, I'm okay now, I don't have to like push and push and push to do mountain pose and close my eyes without falling over. I don't have to then take it into tree with my eyes closed just to make it better. So bringing things into your own practice. Now, I've talked way too much, but I'm going to do alternate breathing, but we're going to go round in a circle. So we always find that one nostril is our dominant, one nostril to breathe up, and one nostril is dominant to breathe out. If you breathe in through one nostril and then try breathing in through the other, one nostril will feel like it's better. One will feel like you're kind of having to sniff a bit more, and the other one will feel quite natural. The same thing when you breathe down. So one will feel quite natural, one will feel a bit blocked, and that'll give you the idea of where is your up nostril when you're down. They do tend to change, and if you read certain books, they will tell you that they will change depending on the time of day, season, things like that, how you're feeling. But I've kind of noticed that they tend to stay the same, but that's with me. So what I use is my thumb, and I'm right-handed, so I tend to breathe up my left nostril and down my right nostril, but that's me. That's not everybody else. And I find that alternate breathing is probably one of the most calming breathing chest exercises that I do. If I don't like flying, and so to get me on a plane, because I do like hot countries, I've tried alcohol, I've tried drugs, I've tried calmers, tried everything to try and get me on a plane. And the only thing that actually works is alternate breathing. As I'm taking off, I do my breathing. As I'm landing, I do my breathing. As I'm waiting to get on the plane, I'm doing my breathing, because otherwise I'll just start crying. But yes, this is possibly my favourite one, but I will go through other ones. So we're going to do 10 rounds. So we're going to start with our breath out. We're going to breathe in. We're going to seal it and hold it for 3 seconds. We're going to take away our thumb and breathe down. We're going to hold it for 3 seconds. And that's 1 round. We're going to breathe in again. So we're going to breathe up through the nose and out through the mouth. So thank you very much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you next week. Take care. Have a wonderful day. Bless. Bye-bye.